Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan, and to continue my season review series, we have the New York Excelsior coming off of the worst season in franchise history, being 12th out of 13th in NA with a 420 record, a minus 38 map differential, and 4 points, not even coming close to a tournament, really. And it's like absolutely brutal. So looking at the roster where the talent is there, I mean, basically began because it is. You have Flora, Yaki, Kellen, Gangnam Ho1, and Ansun J to end the season. But to begin the season, the tank line was Kellen and Vulcan, and the support line was just Myunbong and Gangnam. And that's that roster right there. There's so many holes already. Vulcan's pretty much a cosmetic signing, so you have six players. Maybe he got a little bit of scrim time, but Kellen was going to be the only tank, basically, which wasn't viable as it turns out. His off tanks were poor, and his actual tanks that he was supposed to be good at didn't really do much anyway. There were no crazy Winston moments. I wasn't like, oh, this is a Winston meta, so New York should be good. That's what you'd think, but it never really turned out like that. And then looking at the back line, a Gangnam Myunbong beginning is like not good. Myunbong didn't perform on the flex support. He wasn't good at the main support, so it forced the better flex support in Gangnam onto the main support, which he also wasn't good at. He wasn't a Lastro. He wasn't a Violet. He wasn't able to perform on that Lucio pick nearly as well as either of them. And that eventually made them sign Ansun J. But before they signed Ansun J as a main support, they signed another flex support for some reason in Ho 1. Now, why? I don't get it. It never made sense at the time. It doesn't make sense in hindsight. The team lacked a main support, so you signed a flex support. Sure, maybe Myunbong wasn't up to par. Maybe you wanted him to be better, and he wasn't cutting it as your flex support, which is valid. He had the most deaths per 10 on the team. He wasn't performing very well. Sure. But if you sign a main support, you fix two problems with one because you can then transition Gangnam Jin. It just never made sense. It still doesn't make sense. Eventually, you signed your main support anyway. So, like, unless there was legit nobody wanted to go to this dumpster fire that was happening in front of them, maybe. And then Anson J was like, guys, I'll do it for you on 250 ping, and I'll be the best support player you have. Because look at these stats for Ansun J. Insane. Most eliminations of the supports, highest hero damage on Lucio out of all the supports, the least deaths. Like, he had a good season on 250 ping for a struggling team. Ansun J, I think, he immediately made the team better. Evidently, it was clear. The team was better with a real main support. He should definitely find some team. I think he should be on a team next season. I don't think he was that poor on Toronto, and I think he was pretty good. He didn't turn this team around. He was far from it, but the team was undoubtedly better. It's not really a debate to me. But yeah, just increasingly questionable moves from the start to the end for this team. And then the DPS line of Flora Yaki, they had their carry moments. They were the reason they were able to steal so many maps throughout this season. Look at the amount of maps they've stolen. They had very few times where they actually got 3-0'd. Like what? I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3-0s, which I guess is a lot whenever you get 3-0'd 8 times. Sure. But, like, they've taken some good maps off of some good teams. 3-2 against Glads and Countdown Cup. Not bad, you know? You take, like, 3-2 against Houston Midseason Madness. None of these are, like, super bad. But, yeah, most of the time, it wasn't enough. Whenever they did come together and they were able to just happen to carry at the same time, they were a force. That's how they beat Houston in the Summer Showdown. They almost beat the Glads in the Countdown Cup. Things like that. But it was not consistent, and it felt like this entire game plan of, Hope, Yaki, and Flora carry was not going to win, and it didn't win the entire time, but they never really changed it up. The MO for the New York Excelsior never changed. Despite having multiple roster adjustments, the entire time the team remained the same meta through meta. It's just not great. Even whenever they fired Kuki, and they brought in Undyne to be the head coach. It just nothing changed with this team. The staff being, in the end, Undyne, Gesture, Artist, with the management being Nugget and also Undyne. But I don't know. No matter what this team did, it never changed. It just never changed. As for the actual players and what they're doing next season, this whole team's a free agent. I'm pretty sure all the staff are free agents too. No idea which direction this team wants to go. If they want to go budget Western, budget Korean, if they want to invest money again, I doubt it. No idea. But I'm not. Surely it can't be worse than this season, though. Like 420 is a pretty abysmal record. Surely you don't go awful. This team has fallen. This franchise, season 1, season 2, top tier team. Absolutely a top tier team. It's just so sad seeing this franchise descend into absolute garbage, right? Man. So looking at their records throughout the stages, they go 1-5 against Kickoff Clash, only beating Vancouver. Go 0-6 in Midseason Madness, losing to Paris. Summer Showdown, they're able to beat Houston, who had Dojin, and Paris, who had pretty much just overhauled their entire roster. If they were able to beat Florida in that final game of this stage, then they would have made it to Toronto, to the Summer Showdown tournament. But, Florida just 3-0s them. Florida the better team. I was looking all right for New York in some aspects because, Kellen on the Junker Kun was actually working out better than otherwise. Yaki was able to do his thing. Flora was able to carry a bit. Anton J had just come through, so everything was looking better. But it was still New York in the end. And then Countdown Cup, they only beat the Defiant because Toronto may as well lose to New York. Fuck it. Why not? But yeah, going 1-1 against both Vancouver and Paris in your season record is just you're not. That's so sad. You have to beat those teams. You have to. But yeah, New York's a very sad team to watch. I don't have much more from this. Just so frustrating, man. Just so frustrating because you saw this team. Yaki and Flora were doing so much. And you knew they were going to do a lot. Just never come through. I don't know. That's going to be it, though. I don't have a lot to say about New York. This team, man, this team. So yeah, like this video if you like it, subscribe if you really like it, all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching and have yourself a damn good one. Deuces.